morning and welcome to Love Every Moment, coming to you today from Overton, Quebec. Today's verse is Romans 12:18. If possible, so far as it depends on you, be at peace with all men. Now remember, in last week's verse, I have the link up here, never pay back evil for evil to anyone. So if someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to him the other also. Now, slapping on the cheek's an evil thing. Isn't this increasing evil? To turn the other cheek? No, it's actually showing love and letting love defeat evil. So, never pay back that evil for evil. Let's look at this. It says, if possible, so far as it depends on you, be at peace with all men. So a Christian should not instigate a conflict. Now, sometimes the world drags us in to a conflict and we have to respond, but we shouldn't be the instigators. Let me give you an example. I did a work camping job in South Dakota, and there was a co-worker named Sam who wasn't exactly a young man, but he was a young Christian, and he made it his crusade to rail against our co-workers about their drinking after hours, saying you're a bunch of drunks and you're all going to hell. Well, it didn't exactly win over hearts to Christianity. If anything, it drove people away from the Lord, and then Sam could never figure out why no one wanted anything to do with them. We should show love first and bring them to Jesus. Let Jesus take care of things like drunkenness and so forth. Now, let's look at a cross-reference here. How about 1 Thessalonians 4:11 and 12? Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. Attend to your own business. Work with your hands, just as we commanded you, so that you will behave properly toward outsiders and not be in any need. I like that this ties the idea of working with this, so that, they say that idle hands are the devil's tools, right? But if the Christians are working, then we don't have to rely on handouts from a secular government or borrow from any non-Christian. We should take care of our needs from within, and that means minding our own business, working with our hands so we could provide within the body, right? So that's one way to live a peaceful and quiet life. Now, I know a lot of people want to get into politics because of morality's sake, and we think it's our job to protest gay marriage and abortion and the Middle East and everything else. And I don't think that's really what our main goal as Christians should be. Think about Jesus. Was his main goal to, change the politics of Rome? When he said, just render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's. Well, what if Caesar misuses our money? Well, he did, and he continues to do so today, but we still need to pay to Caesar what we owe, and that's the way Jesus wants it. His focus is on souls and on loving others. Think of Billy Graham. His focus was not on politics. In fact, I'll bet you don't know for sure whether Billy Graham was a Republican or a Democrat. You might be surprised. The reason you probably don't know is he prayed with both Republican and Democratic presidents, praying, for their needs. And it didn't matter what their politics were. He wanted to pray for their success. So that's a better example. Now, I was recently in Montreal, and there was a protest that was a legal protest in the streets, blocked off traffic. The police were there, but it was all prearranged. There was no violence, there was no threats, but they were loud and beating drums and holding up traffic and things like that. It was about the Middle East situation, and it doesn't matter whether they were pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. The point I'm going to make is this. Does anyone really believe that the leadership in the Middle East is going to change the situation because someone beat a drum in Montreal? No, it's not going to have any effect other than to, irritate people who now have to go around them in traffic. If you really want to have a political effect, try something old-fashioned. Write an old-fashioned handwritten note to your representative. That will get their attention nowadays, and be polite and pray about the situation. Let's otherwise choose to love every moment, because if we love every moment, we're going to be at peace with everyone, and we're going to love every moment. I'm your average Dretch, and I hope you have a great week.